Ade, great to speak to you, my friend. I don't know where to begin, to be quite honest, in the world of boxing. We'll start February the 22nd in Saudi Arabia. A massive card of boxing was announced this week. Beterbiev against Bivol. They go again. Daniel Dubois will fight Joseph Parker. Elsewhere, Boatsy fights Callum Smith. Not too sure about that one. We'll get your take on that very shortly. But we also know that Hamzah Sheeraz goes in against Carlos Adames. Have I got that right? Adames. Thank you so much,
WBC
Mr. Jordan.
middleweight.
The three of us becomes the four of us because Hamzah Sheeraz joins us live on the show. Hamzah, good afternoon to you.
How's it going, guys? You all good?
Good afternoon, Hamzah.
We are all good, mate. You finally get your long-awaited shot at a middleweight title. Tell me how did you feel when you found out, A, you were on this lineup on February the 22nd in Riyadh, and B, who your opponent is?
Yeah, listen, when I found out, I found out about a few weeks ago, to be fair, and I knew ever since the Amma Williams fight, this was a fight that was going to happen. It would be my first world title fight, and it was just a matter of putting pen to paper. And yeah, aside from that, listen, I've been in the gym, been carrying on training, and this is it. This is what dreams are made of.
I think it's a really good opportunity for Hamzah. Look, we don't have any champions anymore, unfortunately, in Britain. Obviously, Chris Billam-Smith losing a couple of weeks ago. I think it's only Nick Ball. I can't think of many others.
Daniel Dubois,
apologies. So look, I think Hamzah's got a fantastic opportunity. It probably should have been Carlos Adames after his Amma Williams fight, but he had that run out against Tyler Denny and he looked fantastic. And I think Hamzah is one that can go all the way, and I actually think he can go for a couple of weight divisions. Hamzah, how are you feeling though? Like, what are the thoughts? Obviously, look, it could have been Alam Kanali. It is Carlos Adames. Harder task, do you think, or is it a case of just get in the ring and win?
Yeah, it's just a case of getting in the ring and win. Listen, all the champions in the middleweight division, once you get to that level, no fight's easier than the other. It's all the same, more or less. And listen, Carlos Adames, he's no joke. He's a banger. He can fight. He's got experience. He's more experienced than me, and I've got to do everything right and everything in my capable power to win this fight.
You've been on some big cards. Obviously, I mentioned the Tyler Denny fight. That was fantastic. AJ Dubois, 90,000 or so. Yeah. I think, and I've gone on record saying, I think this is the best fight card I've ever seen. I don't want to talk about fight cards in the 1940s and 50s. I can't remember them, or what Don King did in the 80s. In terms of this generation, there hasn't been a card like it. What's it like to be on a fight card that everyone is in unison raving about as one of the best fight cards we've ever seen?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I think ever since the 5 versus 5, and then I was on the big Wembley card, and now the cards just seem to be getting bigger and bigger, and I'm just grateful and very, very thankful to His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for giving me the opportunity. Giving the opportunity, and I've always said, listen, you give me the opportunity, and I'll always deliver. I'll do everything I have to do to make sure I deliver and put on a spectacle.
I was there, Hamzah, when you took care of Austin Williams, which was a terrific performance, and more recently Tyler Denny. Simon, Hamzah is a fighter who's going places, and to be included on this bill in itself, as Ade rightly points out, it says something in its own right for him.
I'm not surprised. I mean, the middleweight is traditionally a great division. It's had great champions in it in the past. He's a very exciting fighter. And ultimately, I expect him to win this fight. He expects to win this fight. That's why he's taken this fight. It's an opportunity, but I think that Hamzah will come through it. What will be interesting is to see how other opportunities manifest itself further down the line. You know, we're seeing Eubank Jr. potentially talking about fighting Lara, but there's been the ruminations about whether Eubank Jr. will fight Hamzah Sheeraz. I think it's a fight that Hamzah would take. If Hamzah wins a world title, maybe once upon a time Chris can step up and actually fight for a world title again. Who knows? But I think ultimately this is a great fight for Hamzah. I think it's a fight he wins. Not an easy fight, but I think it's a fight he wins, and I think he's earned his space at the top table. I think he's earned his space in that environment. The way that he speaks, despite the fact I'm irritated he didn't turn up for Talk Boxing on Tuesday, that's a different discussion.
I was travelling, Simon.
Yeah, I'll let you off.
You were right to duck it, Hamzah.
I think he's a class operator. I think he's a class technician. I think he's a class operator, and I think he will win this world title. Yeah,
and look, to add on to that, honestly, I do look at the 168-pound division as well. I mean, look, obviously, I'm jumping here because, you know, he's got a win and then there's potential unification fights, and I think Simon's right to point out the Chris Eubank Jr. fight. But there is Canelo in the 168-pound division, who I don't think will be there for too long. I don't think will be in boxing for too long. And then it opens it up because Benavidez has gone to 175 and Morale. All of a sudden, you look at 168, and 168 looks exciting and needs a star. It needs a star that talks well, is good looking, everyone likes him, charismatic, lives the life, speaks well, and I think Hamzah could be that. It's a lot of pressure, but he likes the pressure. His team like the pressure, and I think there's a door opening for Hamzah.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to February 22nd for him to go through that door, become world champion, and then I think the world's his oyster.
So listen, has Hamzah become your new best friend? Because you used to get stuck into him for what happened in the fight with
Yeah, I know. I was going to say
Bradley
that.
Skeete.
Yeah, I didn't like what we did with Bradley Skeete, but that was
What did happen with Bradley Skeete?
Well, you know what happened. Why are you asking me?
What did happen, Ade?
I can't remember. My brain can't remember.
He knows.
That was a
Hamzah knows.
154, Hamzah. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that
Welcome
was
to the
years ago,
new
that
show
was
on
years ago.
talkSPORT. Ask Hamzah. Hamzah, what happened with you and Bradley Skeete that got so much up Mr. Jordan's left nostril?
Yeah, it was. Listen, it was what it was. Do you know what I mean? It was what it was, and I think how the biggest blessing for me in that situation was getting all the backlash on social media and learning how to deal with it all then. And like when you get a little bit of backlash now, it's nothing really compared to what I had then. So
I can
listen,
imagine.
I learned from it. It made me a better fighter, and it was probably the biggest blessing in disguise for me, definitely.
I mean, you hit him when he was on the floor. Was
He
it?
did, yeah.
Was that what it was all that?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
I mean, it's a tough game, isn't it?
I mean, protect yourself at all times.
No,
Protect yourself at
Protect
all
yourself
times.
at all times.
Come on,
Yeah.
You know?
come on.
You
There's-
getting all
there-
sanctimonious.
I wasn't all sanctimonious. I felt a little bit sorry for Bradley Skeete because in that fight, Bradley was doing a little bit of a number on Hamzah, and it wasn't easy for Hamzah. And you won't agree with that, Hamzah. And I think it changed the direction of travel in this fight because when he hit him when he was down, it changed the direction of how Bradley was able to compete in that fight, and you knocked him out the next round. And I felt
I
it was
think.
unfair.
Listen. Considering that situation where I am today, I ain't done too bad, have I?
No, you're a
Yeah,
top
I mean,
quality
so-
fighter,
Done all
but,
right.
but you should
Yeah.
have been called
Thank
for
you,
that. You
Simon.
should have been called at the time, and so should the referee.
Simon clearly doesn't forget anything, even though that was.
I didn't bring it up.
But 4
I could
years
have
ago.
brought
Listen,
it
it's
up.
healthy to get it off your chest, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
you gotta
healthy.
get off your chest
Now
now,
we can
Simon.
move
Hamzah,
forward.
I didn't
You've
bring
got
it
off your
up.
chest
My
and we can
little
move
colleague
forward.
over here that
Yeah,
wanted
it's
to
true.
stir
Jim,
up.
No,
Jim,
no,
why
I'm
did you
only-
bring
I'm
that
only
up,
pulling
Jim?
your leg.
Jim's
Well,
staring.
Hamzah, it was just at 10 to 10 this morning before we came on air. I said, you know, Simon, Hamzah's coming out of that Bradley
But make
Skeete
your mind
night.
up. You tell everyone I don't get
Remember
into
what
1 minute to
happened with
10.
that Bradley Skeete thing. Hamzah, you're right, mate. You are shining in the boxing industry, and now you've got a massive chance to shine even more. What can you tell us? What can we look forward to on the 22nd of February from you then against this dangerous fighter,
Carlos Adames.
Listen, you can expect I say it all the time. The best Hamzah Sheeraz is. I know what's at stake now. WBC world title. And I'll give it my all. I'll give it my all, and God willing, inshallah, there'll be a new WBC middleweight champion of the world on February 22nd.
Let's hope so.
It'll be interesting to see how Carlos Adames handles fight week. Obviously, Hamza's done these big Riyadh season fight weeks, and it's a lot for the fight, especially when you're cutting a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And Carlos Adames is a big boy, and the fact that you've got to do things every single day, and you've got to do interviews every single day, and you get requests for interviews every single day. Again, Hamza's done it. He's used to it. His team know where and which way to go, direction. Carlos has never done it. So it's going to be interesting to see how Carlos does it. Obviously, experienced fighter. But a fight week in America where you just turn up on a Friday to weigh in and a Saturday to fight is completely different from a Riyadh season fight week. So that's one big advantage that Hamza's got. As you can tell, I'm a big Hamzah fan.
Yes.
I'm a big Hamzah fan.
So
I want him
I
to.
sat with him in a flight.
I'm a big Ade fan as well. Don't worry.
Thank you, Hamzah.
Hamzah, thank you very much indeed. Hamzah, you're quite right to prioritise what you do in the media, mate. You know, ducking that little talkSPORT thing, the little podcast
No.
with Simon and
Come on a show
Spencer.
with someone who can't pronounce the fighters'
And,
names.
on you come with Ade and myself and the other fella. Thank you so much. Hamzah Sheeraz, who will fight on that incredible card. When you look at it, I mean, honestly, is that the best ever? Is that the best ever card that we're looking at there?
I think
on
it
a night
is.
of
I've asked a
boxing?
few old heads and obviously people that went to the Don King shows in the early 80s and late 80s, and they say those fight cards were big. But the fact is, you mentioned Callum Smith, Joshua Boatsy. That could be the first fight to walk. There's no fight card where you got fighters of that high level walking first. Not a 10-rounder or an 8-rounder or two guys that are washed up. Two very good light heavyweights are about to walk first. And I think that tells you how deep this fight card is. Fantastic. And that's a 50-50 fight as well, by the way. That there, Boatsy Smith is... which way you leaning, Simon? I feel like I just saw you in my periphery.
I never like to bet against any member of the Smith family because I have a great affection for them. But I think this Josh Boatsy's career, Callum is probably levelled off and coming on the way down now.
Yeah,
and I think Josh is still to hit all of his potential. So I'd be amazed if they put Josh Barretzi into a fight that he didn't really think they had the ability to win.
Closer than February the 22nd is this coming Saturday. Of course it is. talkSPORT brings you exclusive commentary of the Magnificent Seven card live from Wembley Arena.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.